Okay, here we are on chapter 3. Hopefully this one comes out okay. Let's get started. This is Esther, chapter 3, verse 1. אחר הדברים האלה גידל המלך אחשוורוש את המן בן המדנתה. Actually, it would have been המדתה. האגגי וינשאהו וישם את כיסאו מעל כל השרים אשר איתו. After these things, Gidal HaMelech Achashverosh, the king Achashverosh magnified Haman. Boo! We say boo, Haman, son of Hammedatha, who was Agagite. He was an Agagite, right? So our tradition, of course, says that he's descended from the wicked king who was not killed, who was not wiped out, so that because we did not follow God's command to wipe out all the Amalekites, we ended up with this enemy being raised up against us. And eventually that some of the Germans were from this too. Again, if you're German, no offense, but there was a time in our period where Germany rose against us. And he raised him up, Vayasim, and he placed at Kiso, his chair, like his throne, Me'al Kohasarim, so his seat, let's just say his seat, above all of the princes Asherito who were with him. So this guy is a big deal. Verse 2. V'chol avdei hamelech asher b'sha'ar hamelech קוראים ומשתחווים להמן, כי כן ציווה לו המלך, ומרדכי לא יכרע ולא ישתחווה. Now all of the king's servants whom were at the gate of the king's gate, קוראים, this means they bent the knees, right? Like we have in the Aleinu, we say, ואנחנו קוראים, but we bend the knees, ומשתחווים, ומודים, and we prostrate down and give thanks, לפני מלך, מלכי המלכים, before the king of all kings, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, how blessed is he, the blessed one is he. Okay, so this is and bent the knees, ומשתחווים, and prostrated down, the Haman to Haman. For such was commanded concerning him of the king, right? But Mordechai lo yichra, he did not bow down. And note, this is very interesting. This is an imperfect, right? So this is expressing a continuous action on the side of Mordechai. He would not bow down. Velo yishtachave, and he would not, again, another imperfect, and he would not prostrate down. Beautiful. Hold on, I have another process going here on the computer. I need to tell it to stop. All right, and we're back. Let's scroll up to the verse we're on here, chapter 3, verse, what we read 2, okay, so 3. Right, verse 3. ויאמרו לעבדי המלך אשר בשער המלך למרדכי, מדוע אתה עובר את מצוות המלך? So the king's servants said, pardon me, it's a long subject. The king's servants who were at the king's gate said, that's all the subject, all these 5 words, said to Mordechai, Madua, why ata over? Why do you transgress, like literally cross over the king's commandments? Verse 4. Vahi be'omram elav yom vayom velo shama alehem vayagidu lehaman rot haya'amdu divrei Mordechai ki higid lahem asher hu Yehudi. Now it came to pass when they said to him these things that we just heard about, yom vayom, day by day, but he would not listen to them. Then it was it was told to Haman. Boo! Who had seen it. Haya'amadu, divrei Mordechai. So this ha'ayamadu, this word is a bit interesting here, what we have with ha'ayamadu. Now the reason is that we have a built-in question mark in the Hebrew here. Right, so let's look here. So you see the hey with the chataf patach there? That's like implying a question mark. Ya'amadu means they stand, right? So why do the divrei Mordechai, the actions or the things of Mordechai, stand? Then it was told to them that he is a Yehudi. He's a Jew. He's a Jew. Verse 5. וירא המן, בו, כי אין מרדכי, יהי חורע, משתחווה לו, וימלא Haman, boo, chema. Okay. Now when Haman saw that, and it's kind of weird how it's, in Hebrew it literally says there was not Mordechai bending the knees or prostrating down. Okay, so it's just saying that Mordechai did not bend the knees nor prostrate down to him, that Haman, boo, was filled, Yimale, with chema, with heat or anger. Verse 6, let me scroll up. Let's scroll it to the top. Make sure it's easy to follow along. All right. Verse 6. Vayivez ba'inav lishloach yad b'Mordechai levado. Ki higidu lo et am Mordechai vayivakesh Haman bu להשמיד את כל היהודים אשר בכל מלכות אחשוורוש am Mordechai. Now he despised in his sight, so that he sent out his hand against Mordechai alone. For they told to him concerning the people of Mordechai, so that Haman, sought to hashmid. This is Hifa from Shamad. Shamad is to be destroyed, like we have the Ashur Shamada, right? Assyria, the devastated, right? And these sorts of things. So Shamad is to destroy. Hashmid in the Hifa is also to destroy. So the call can also be to rape, to violate, etc. But this is to destroy all HaYehudim, all the Jews who were in all of the Achashverosh's kingdom, the people of Mordechai. In other words, this guy is a jerk. Verse 7. B'chodesh harishon hu chodesh nissan b'shnat 12 lamelech Achashverosh Piel hu הגורל לפני Haman. בוא. מיום ליום ומחודש לחודש 12 הוא חודש אדר. So in the first month, which is the month of Nisan, or which was the month of Nisan, in the 12th year, 2 and 10, in the 12th year of King Achashverosh's reign, we have to make in English make it sense. He Piel Pur. Pur is an interesting word. So Pur, actually, this is a Persian word. We borrow it from Persian. So, Pual, it's a synonym to a word we're going to get later in the sentence here. Pual, it means like a lot, right? Like used in divination. And here we have the Hebrew word, goral. These are equivalents. So it's interesting. We have the Persian word given, and then the Hebrew text clarifies for Hebrew readers what this word meant, right? And this is why we actually call it Purim. It's interesting. Some scholars think this verse 7 doesn't belong there. That was added later. Anyway, it's there now. However it got there. So Piel, this is Hifil, the causative form from nafal, to fall. You see the dagesh, the strong dagesh in the pei, and we have the characteristic of Hifil, the yod before the third root letter. So cause to fall, this is how we say to cast, right? So he cast Pual, a lot, hu hagorel. In Hebrew this means that is a goral, a lot. And by the way, there's a double entendre here. Goral is also the Hebrew way of saying fate or destiny, something like this, right? The idea of the way the lots fall, right? Caused by Hashem. Lifnei Haman, before Haman. Miyom liyom, from day to day, mechodesh lachodesh, from month to month, shnei masar, 12. Hu chodesh, it is the month of Adar. And I just want to read to you, there's an interesting note here from the Yale commentary on Esther. And we're told that it says Nissan, patterned after the Babylonian Nisano. Nisan is the post-exilic equivalent of the pre-exilic Aviv, the first month of the Jewish year. The beginning of the new year was an especially appropriate time for Haman, to resort to divination, because according to the Babylonian religion, at that time the gods also come together to fix the fate. So you see the play on words here, pur, like goral in Hebrew. It's a lot, but also means fate, right? For parallels on the casting of lots in the Babylonian New Year, see Haupt Purim in Bitraga zu Asurulugia. Okay? In the 12th year, that is the 15th year of Esther's being queen. Pardon me, 5th, 15th, 3rd. The Pur was cast. Literally, he cast Pur. The subject of the verb is not specified, and so many scholars have understood it to be Haman, right? That he's the one who cast lot. But the phrase in Haman's presence militates against that. Probably an astrologer or professional magician would have cast the lot for Haman. And the author here references Herodotus' work, right? One of the first historians, the Xenophon Cyropaedia. Thus, the verb should be translated impersonally. That is, the Pur was cast, right? It is impossible to tell whether Haman was determining the propitious day for presenting his petition to the king, or the best day for his pogrom, right? All right. So that was interesting to you guys. Okay, let's scroll up now. Verse 8, chapter 3, verse 8. Okay, verse 8, chapter 3. ויאמר Haman, בואו למלך אחשוורוש, יay! ישנו עם אחד, מפוזר ומפרד בין העמים בכל מדינות מלכותך. ודתיהם שונות מכל עם, ואת דתי המלך אינם עושים, ולמלך אין שווה לחניכם. So then Haman said, boo, to King Ahasuerus, yay, yeshno, there exists, literally there is a certain people, literally one people, mefuzar, this is from the verb piel, Piel, which is to scatter, right? You can do this when the sower scatters the seeds, right? He pizer is the seeds, he scatters them as he tosses them. It can also mean toss. This is the Pual, so it's passive. It's a passive participle. So Hebrew students see the mem in front, mefuzar, is scattered, meforad. So this is another Pual passive participle. Prod also means to be like separated, right? Again, to be spread all about. Bein ha'amim, between the people. Bechol medinot, in all of the provinces, malchutecha, of your kingdom. But their dictates, their laws, shonot, are different from all the peoples. And the decrees of the king, or the laws of the king, by the way, notice he's emphasizing there's et here, at least the way it's being retold in Hebrew. The verb comes over here. So here we have special emphasis when you get the object for the verb. So their decrees, or the decrees of the king, but the decrees of the king, einam, they do not have osim, so they don't do. V'lamelech ein shovei, and to the king, they do not treat as equal lechinacham, lechanicham, when they cause them to rest. It's kind of a bit odd, this language here. Verse 9. Im al hamelech tov yikatev abdam ve'aseret alafim mikar chesif eshkol al yedei osei hamelacha lehavi el ginezei hamelech. If upon the king it is good, then let there be written to disperse them. Many times this is translated as destroy. Well, we had the word for destroy before. That was hishmid, right? This one is ibed in the PL. And it really has the idea of like for them to become, he's not necessarily even say to kill them all, but destroy their infrastructure, destroy their livelihood, let them be dispersed like beggars among the people, right? This is a verb that when used with water, the idea is you pour water on a hill and you don't know which way it's going to run down the hill, like the path it will take precisely. You know, it's unpredictable. It's kind of like that. Like, so often it's translated as destroyed, but it doesn't mean they're not alive necessarily. The aseret alafim, and 10,000 kikar kesef. A kikar was a unit of measure for silver and for gold, like a kind of heavy, right? Usually in an oval-like shape. We also see this word used to reference in the Torah the Yarden, the kikar Yarden, when Avram Avinu, he looks down Lot looks down, but Avram also, on the kikar Yarden, the fertile crescent of the Jordan, right? That whole area. It's because of the shape. It's shaped like this unit of measurement. Eshkol, I will weigh out. This is related to the word shekel, right? The Hebrew shekel. It's a talent or a weight. Eshkol, I will weigh out. Al yedei, upon the hands of Osei, those who do hamlacha, the kingdom or the reign, right? Those who are in charge of it. The havi, to bring el ginezei hamelech, the storehouse of the king. And this word geniza, this in Hebrew today, in rabbinical Hebrew this is actually a special box where if you have a piece of paper that has God's name on it, the tetragrammaton, that we shouldn't pronounce, which by the way is absent from Esther. So if you have a piece of paper that has God's name on it, you don't throw it away. You put it in a geniza, right? It's a special box where it's treated specially, and then when it's filled up, you have a special service and you bury the box, right? But geniza can just mean like ganaz, like a hidden thing, right? Or a secret place, or in this case, a treasure room, right? So he's going to put the money, and he's saying, I will pay for it myself. So this isn't going to cost you anything, and you're going to rid yourself of some enemies. So it's interesting. The book of Esther, some say the reason it's called Esther is because from the Hebrew word satar, or satir, meaning hidden or to hide. Esther means I will hide, or you could say sater, I will be hidden in the nifal. And so the idea is that God's name is not listed anywhere in the entire book of Esther. We do not see Yod-He, Waw-He. And there's different opinions on this. I think it's because they were living in a wicked kingdom that was not holy, and they did not want to write down Yod-He, Vav-He more than they needed to, lest when it falls into wicked Persian hands or Babylonian hands, they might do something bad to the document that has our God's name on it, right? So even then, we're treating his name with respect. We're not just saying his name whenever. I'm a teacher, I can say the name. No, Treat his name as holy. Even the author, the scribe of the book of Esther, chose not to write God's name in that case. And I think this really is the case because it was outside the land and they already had this understanding of defaming God's name, the dangers that could come with that. Okay. Verse 10. ויעשה המלך את טבעתו מעל ידו ויתנה להמן בן המדתה האגגי tsorer היהודים. So then the king removed, this is from sir, not sur, the yod is gone because it's a hollow verb. He removed tabato, his fatness in Tagalog, just kidding, his signet ring. This is the ring that showed is by the authority of the king. Me'al yado, from off his hand, vayitana, and he gave it to Haman, the son of Medata, the Agagite. Tsorer haYehudim. Tsorer, remember I mentioned before that tsorer, this is actually similar to tsorer. So tsorer is an adversary, and a tsorer is one who looks out for you with evil intent, right? Usually, there's some other nuances. So tsorer is from tsarar, to be in a narrow spot, right? To be in a tight spot. Like you're in between two cliffs and the enemies are up above and they're shooting down rocks and arrows on you. You're in a tough spot, right? So this is an adversary of the Jews. Like we see in Psalm 23. Ta'arol shochan beneged tsorai. You set forth a table for me in the midst of my tsorer, the tsorerim, those who are my adversaries. They're watching and you bless me while they're watching me. So the tsorer hayotim, the enemy of the Jews, the adversary of the Jews. Verse 11. Vayomer hamelech lehaman bu hakesef natun lach v'ha'am la'asot bo katuv b'aynecha. So then the king said to Haman, bu, the silver is given to you, or given for you, and the people to do against it, we'd have to say them in English, how is good in your sight. Verse 12. קראו סופרי המלך בחודש הראשון ב13 יום בו וייכתב ככל אשר ציווה המן בו אל אחשוורוש. Well, it's weird. Okay, look, אל אחשדר פני המלך. Okay, it's kind of a אחשדר פני. What's up with here? Okay. Another Persian word. This is governors of the king. But we also have pachot. This also means governors. ואל הפחות אשר על מדינה ומדינה ואל שרי עם ועם מדינה ומדינה ככתבה ועם ועם כלשונו בשם המלך אחשוורוש. Yay! נכתב ונחתם בטבעת המלך. That was a long verse. Okay, so here this is nifal. See the dagesh and the kuf. Okay, so the Sofrei Hamelech, the king's scribes, they were called, or they were summoned on the first month, Chodesh Harishon, Bishlosha, on the third Asar, the 13th Yom day, bo in it, Veikatev, so that might be written. See another nifal, that's the dagesh and the kaf, the nun is in there. Kechol, according to all which Haman, commanded unto, and this word here, this is kind of a, this is the, the word is Achashdar Panim, and you saw this is kind of a hard word for me, so some of these Persian words, so this means governors of the king, the El HaPachot, and also to the governors, Pachot, right? So I think it means like great governors and small governors, who were over the provinces, right? Province and province mean each and every one, and unto the princes of the people and people of province and province, so each province will probably say, according to how it was written, and the people and people, according to their language, in the name of the king Achashverosh. Yay! Nichtav, it was written. The nechetam. So this is a nifal from chatam. It means it was sealed by the taba'at hamelech, by the signet ring of the king. Okay? And I need to scroll up. Let's scroll 13 up. All right. Okay, scrolling up. ונשלוח ספרים ביד חרצים אל כל מדינות המלך להשמיד, להרוג ולאבד את כל היהודים מנער ועד זקן, טף ונשים ביום אחד ב13 לחודש 12 הוא חודש אדר ושלום לבוז. This is really sad stuff here. It's showing Achashverosh, whatever you might think, even though we applaud him, not a very moral guy. He's allowing for the extermination of a people, even little ones and old ones. Anyway, I'll read it. Venishloach Sefarim. So, and it was sent out by the scribes, by the hand into the hand of the runners, that's Haratzim, unto all of the Medinot, all the provinces of the king, the Hashmid, to destroy, the Harog, to slaughter, the Abed, and to, like I said, oftentimes this is translated destroy, but it means like make them dispersed. Apolou in the Greek, it's make it like sheep without a shepherd, right? All of the Yehudim, the Jews, and here's where I got a little bit upset reading it, from lad and until elder, ta, from infant and women, on a single day, b'yom echad. B'shlosa asar, on the 13th day, this might be why 13 is an unlucky number, the chodesh, on the month, shneim asar, on the 12th of the 12th month, hu chodesh, which is the month of Adar. Ushalalam lavuz, and they can, these two words are synonyms. They can, it might even be candidatus here. They can completely, I think candidatus, they can completely spoil, meaning get all our loot, right? Get all our good stuff. 14. Patch again, haktav lehinatein dat bechol medina, medina galui, lechol ha'amin, lichot atidim layom ha'zeh. So, pat shegen, this is an Aramaic loan word. It means like a copy, haktav, of the document. Lehinaten, this is nifal. You can see the dagesh in there. So, was to be given, dat bechol medina, as a law among all of the provinces, medina. And a province, galui. Galui, this is like from gala, to uncover, or like to be revealed, the chol ha'amim, to all of the peoples. Lichyot atidim, so that they might be prepared, ready. Layom hazeh, and this is actually a double, maybe a play on words here, because it also means atid, it also means like treasure stores, right? Treasure stores, or used in Isaiah this way, and it could also mean like in the future, right? Like so, yeah. Okay, so let's continue on. Layom hazeh, for this day. Verse 15. Haratzim atzeu dechufim bidvar hamelech v'hadat nitna b'shushan habira v'hamelech v'chaman bu yashivu lishtot v'ha'ir shushan navocha. Okay. All right, so let's see here. Okay, so haratzim, the runners, yatzeu, they went out. The chufim, so this is dachaf, which is like to push, right? Like sometimes this is used like in Psalms with an arrow to be pushed into someone, right? Or there's even there's an alleged level of hell that's named after this, like where someone's pushed down beyond Sheol into the grave. But in this case, it means like they're pushed out, right? So in haste. So the runners went out pushed, right? Like in haste, bidvar hamelech, by the command of the king, I would say, literally by the word of the king. V'hadat nitna b'shushan, and the law, the order, had been given. Passive. There's the dagesh where the noon went in, right? So we had the noon. So natan is the verb, but the noon from the nifal is still there, and it pushed the natan, the first noon, in. So natana had been given b'shushan habira, in Shushan habira, the walled city of Shushan. The hamelech, and the king, yay, the Haman bu yashivu, they sat lishtot, to drink. The ha'ir, while the city Shushan nafolcha, was agitated. This word can mean to be agitated or to be confused, right? Probably agitated in this case. All right, and that is the end of chapter 3.